From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and welcome to your MTN News this Wednesday. I'm Augusta McDonnell. Let's get right to our top story. Capital punishment is in the spotlight in Montana. For a third session in a row, Montana lawmakers are considering a bill intended to allow the state to again administer the death penalty. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian breaks down the change it would make and the impact it could have on executions in the state.
Since a court ruling in 2015, the state of Montana has been effectively unable to administer the death penalty. On Tuesday morning, a House committee heard testimony on a bill that would change the requirements for lethal injections, with the goal of allowing the state to resume executions. A Helena judge ruled in 2015 that the state's current procedure for lethal injections wasn't in line with a state law that requires an ultra-fast-acting drug. State leaders have said they're unable to get drugs that meet the requirements. House Bill 205, sponsored by Representative Shannon Maness of Dillon, would change the law so it only specifies, quote, a substance or substances. Similar bills came close to passing the Senate in 2021 and 2023. Attorney General Austin Knudsen has previously supported this change. His office said he wasn't able to attend Tuesday's hearing, but he backed this bill as well. Opponents of the bill said the language was too broad and would open the door to new legal action every time the state tried a new method of lethal injection.
If this legislature wants to see the capital punishment struck down by the courts as unconstitutional once and for all, this is exactly the bill to do it.
But Maness said the constitutional protections against cruel and unusual punishment ensure the state won't use an unreasonable substance for executions, and that keeping the language general was the best chance of allowing executions to move forward.
If we limit it again to something specific, we're going to be right back in this if we run into the same problem where the product's no longer available.
Eric Strauss, deputy director of the Montana Department of Corrections, said they haven't yet considered specific drugs they plan to use for executions.
Our protocol does require us to contract with a qualified medical professional in the development of that cocktail. So in the event that the moratorium would be lifted based on changes to the statutory language, we would again have to engage with a medical professional to determine what the appropriate drugs are to use.
Montana currently has 2 prisoners sentenced to death, one since 1983 and one since 1992. The last time the state executed a prisoner was in 2006. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
A Montana court upheld a challenge to a new policy at the Montana legislature that would restrict who can access certain documents about proposed bills. This is a story we followed closely since the lawsuit was filed last October. Yesterday, the Montana District Court in Great Falls ordered the Legislative Services Division to, quote, return to its long-held practice of producing legislative documents related to the drafting of a bill to the public under the state constitution's right to know. That decision is in favor of a group who challenged how documents once considered public information would now be withheld under a new policy. Back in October, 2 Montanans, the Montana Environmental Information Center, and members of the press corps asked that district court judge to stop the division from implementing the new policy, which focused on, quote, junk files. Junk files include things like records on how a particular bill was drafted, language changes, and email exchanges between lawmakers and other stakeholders, like lobbyists and interest groups. Now, Tuesday's ruling will allow the public to review bill draft files once again.
It's another winter day to stay off the roads if you can, and make sure you stay safe and stay warm, particularly around Highway 212, also I-90 east and south of Billings towards Sheridan. Lots of lowered visibilities, lots of gusty wind, areas of light snow for northeastern Montana. Watch out on the roads there, but also in north central parts of the state, Fergus County, Judith Basin County, parts of Choteau County and Cascade County. We have a blizzard warning until 9 o'clock tonight. Please stay off the roads. Your forecast coming up.
In today's leading look, more from Helena, where Montana lawmakers also heard proposed legislation aimed at strengthening and reforming laws addressing squatting in Montana. The bill would create a framework for the removal of squatters by creating a criminal offense for unlawful squatting. The bill also creates a process for the removal of a squatter and adds liability protections to law enforcement when removing someone found in violation. Proponents say the bill is needed to add teeth to the current Montana code. Those opposed say the bill could be used to unfairly target renters and is unnecessary with current trespassing laws. Also Tuesday, the Montana House held hearings on 3 separate wolf hunting bills. The bills came up for discussion in the House Fish, Wildlife and Parks Committee. First was House Bill 101, which looked to reclassify wolves as fur bearers. Next, they considered House Bill 176, which looks to put rules in place for when Montana has 450 or more wolves. When the population is at that level, the bill would require unlimited hunting quotas and allow multiple harvests per person, night hunting on private land, trapping and baiting. When the wolf population is at or below 600, House Bill 222 proposes to create a year-round open hunting season. And in Gallatin County, a new $46 million Justice Center is now officially open. This 76,000 square foot Gallatin County Justice Center includes 4 district courtrooms, 2 justice courtrooms, youth court and probation offices, clerk of court offices, and a space for the self-help law center. The project stands directly next to the old Justice Center, an out-of-code building that was once a Catholic high school built in the 60s. The old building is to be demolished in the spring to provide extra parking for the new Justice Center. The bird flu has now been detected in every state, with outbreaks reported in 17 of Montana's 56 counties, affecting more than 136 million birds. According to the CDC, the virus has also caused illness in some people. In today's Your Health Matters, our Matt Carmack takes a closer look at the threat the virus poses to you.
Although it's unlikely to transfer to humans, the United States has already seen 1 death attributed to the bird flu. That's why officials here in Montana are teaching you ways to protect yourself from the spread.
From a rise in egg prices to a rise in cases, it's understandable why many Americans are worried about the avian flu.
Certainly is a concern in the context that this is a little different than that it has the potential to spread, although we have not seen that. So that's the big fear from the public health perspective.
Cases in infected birds are on the rise. Almost 13 million birds have been confirmed on infected premises in just the last 30 days.
Secretions, feces, and then, like I said, it can also be spread, if you have, say, like a raptor, a species that would feed on a carcass, it can be spread that way too.
According to the CDC, over 136 million birds have contracted the virus since 2022, with cases all across the United States. Over 60 humans infected, including 1 fatality in Louisiana. Here in Montana, 17 counties have seen outbreaks, most notably in Flathead and Missoula County, with 4 different outbreaks, and more than 130,000 birds impacted in Glacier County.
Should the general public be concerned? Right now, no, because as I kind of pointed out, we have yet to see a instance where there is human-to-human transmission.
Dr. Neil Koo, an infectious disease specialist with Billings Clinic, says the bird flu isn't a large concern right now because of that. Nonetheless, Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks is still educating Montanans about ways to prevent the spread, as goose hunting season is set to end in a couple of weeks.
While you're cleaning the meat of a game bird, you just want to take a lot of precautions to protect yourself. So wearing gloves when you're cleaning a game bird, doing it in a well-ventilated area or even outside if that's an option.
In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
Humans may be at a low risk of catching the bird flu, but that doesn't mean it isn't affecting us. For proof, just head to the grocery store. Many local stores tell MTN they're struggling to keep a steady supply of eggs, and that's driven up the price of eggs. According to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average price of a dozen grade A eggs was $4.15 in December, up from $2.51 in December of 2023. Prices are expected to rise as much as 20% more before the year is over. 2J's Fresh Market in Great Falls is one of the stores struggling to keep eggs stocked. While 2J's has not yet had to considerably raise their egg prices, the store fears they will if bird flu continues to spread.
Well, my understanding is if the bird flu were to go away today, we're looking at it could be 6 months before the new chicks get big enough to where they start laying eggs.
Egg prices have risen nearly 37% over the last year.